The lines and curves feature in Spotfire allows you to create both reference lines and curve fits directly onto visualizations. This can be helpful when you're trying to compare your data to certain reference points, or if you want to look at different trends in your data more analytically. So let's jump right into Spotfire and take a look. We're going to use the vehicle dataset, which has different attributes for all sorts of different vehicles in the United States. For the first part of the example, we're going to look at the scatter plot where I have city fuel efficiency on the y-axis and highway fuel efficiency on the x-axis. Now I can draw a simple reference line by clicking right on the axes, and you'll see that the value I clicked is now showing up. And I can just hit enter, and that's going to draw a line. So now I can see all the vehicles that have over 40 miles per gallon city fuel efficiency, and I can mark these points, and I can see the different vehicles that are above the line. If I'd like, I can change this to something more specific, like let's say 30.5, and I'll hit enter, and that'll move it down here. And again, this is just a very simple reference line. Now, the real power in Spotfire lines and curves comes in the visualization properties, where you can go down to lines and curves, and here you can see different options. So to start with, I'm going to do a straight line curve fit. And this straight line fit is going to be right here, and that's fit across my data. If I'd like, I can go into labels and tooltips, and I can choose what shows up on the tooltip when I hover over the line, or what's just on the label automatically. So I'll use the curve name, and I'll use the curve expression, and you can see that now right there. Now Spotfire also allows me to draw my own custom curve, so I can do anything I'd like, any kind of equation I'd like here, but here I'm just going to do a simple y equals x and hit OK. And I'm going to color this straight line curve fit as a dotted line. I'm going to style it as a dotted line. So here you can see the y equals x line. Everything below this line are vehicles that have better highway fuel efficiency than city fuel efficiency, but I see that there are a few vehicles above the line that have better city fuel efficiency than highway fuel efficiency. And it looks like they're all hybrid vehicles. So going back to this appearance and styling, you can change the colors and the style of individual lines however you'd like. You can change the color right here, you can change the type of line, you can change the thickness as well, and the transparency. And if you don't want to obscure your data, you can even stick it in the background. I'm going to go ahead and put this back in the foreground, and I'm going to show you down here, you have this option to do a separate line for every color, shape, or trellis. So if I do color here, I now have 3 separate lines, each for the different color by values, which are the engine aspiration methods: turbocharged, supercharged, and naturally aspirated, and you can see the values for each of those lines. Now if I'd like, I can export the specific values for those line fits directly to a CSV, and that way I can use it in different applications. Now for my next example, I'm going to show a histogram here of city fuel efficiency. And I can do, for instance, on really any one of these, I can show a average line as a horizontal line, and the horizontal and vertical lines are very similar. You can do an average, or you can do a specific value. So if I say 20 right here and I hit OK, then you'll see the 20 right there. So you can create reference lines that way. These aggregations allow you to do things like median as well. All the other aggregations are available to you in Spotfire, or you can even do custom expressions right here. And the column and property value, I don't have that set up, but I could use document properties, and as I change those document properties, the line can move as well. So I can control that line with, let's say, a slider and a property control. So the other option is to use an average and plus or minus 1 standard deviation. And that is a shortcut in Spotfire that will create these 3 lines: an average for you, minus 1 standard deviation, and plus 1 standard deviation. And you can also do things like a curve fit, where if I draw this curve fit and I hit OK, now I have a Gaussian curve fit around these values. I'm going to turn off some of these, and let's focus on the Gaussian curve fit. With any of these lines in Spotfire, I can also choose to update it manually. And then this allows me to make filterings and markings and remove values, but keep that reference line where I'd like it. And I can just hit update if I want to change that to the new values. Now finally, I'm going to show you some different curve fitting options. Here I have city fuel efficiency on the y-axis, and I have engine displacement on the x-axis, and I have this sort of inverse curve going on. So I'm going to go ahead and add a logarithmic curve fit. I'm going to add a exponential curve fit, and I'm going to add a polynomial curve fit. And for each of these, I'm going to turn on the name and the expression. Now I've added the name and the expression, and I've also styled each of these with a different color so you can see them more clearly. And I can even turn this on in the legend by going to Legends and Lines and Curves, and now it'll pop up here for any viewer of my analysis. So lines and curves can really expand the analytic value of your visualizations, and remember, you can use them on various charts, scatter plots, bar charts, line charts, and others.